All right, guys, I'm here with Billy Mitchell, Glitch Arcade Bar for Lauderdale, Florida, and it's a special night for Billy Mitchell because earlier this week we found out that he was reinstated into the Guinness Book of World Records. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Well, first of all, as you know, I want to know if you know what you're talking about. Are you saying that Guinness Book of World Records solidified the history that they've already published for 35 years? Or are you saying you recognize the fact that during these past 2 years of uncertainty, I simply went back and replayed and matched or beat all of anything that could possibly be in question? In other words, which accolade are you giving me? That I did it throughout history, or that I redid it again?
Because I was there in the present in Free Play Orlando, Florida. You are nonstop, man. And you can play all hours and go like no one else. It's insane. That's why I said I can vouch, because I've watched you game unfazed by crowds of people for hours on end.
We agree that I can play longer than you can watch. Is that fair?
Definitely. I think I hit the floor at least 6 times at Free Play by the time Billy was still on his 5th round of Donkey Kong. And another thing happened recently. That was the 40th anniversary of Pac-Man from Namco, and you're no stranger to Pac-Man. What happened here at Glitch Arcade Bar that night?
Okay, let me be straight with you. It was the 40th anniversary of Pac-Man. It was something to be celebrated. It was great. It was fun. I promised Dwight, and I promised my friend, that I'd do a perfect score. Being the anniversary of Pac-Man, but also knowing what was coming in the upcoming days, it was sort of a celebratory thing that I did. It's sort of fun. It celebrates its history, its legacy. Just a little bit of in your face.
Yes.
And it was a lot of fun. People say to me, gee, do you still like playing? It's sometimes I like anything but playing. But the truth is, when things go well, when you have the adrenaline, when it's flowing, when you're amongst friends, when you're in your element, when you're doing what you enjoy with the people that are close to you, yes, then there's nothing I'd rather do. So it was an awesome time, and all kidding aside, I appreciate the good fortune I've had, but I appreciate the good fortune I have from the people that I've come together with.
Speaking of the people that you have come together with, anyone in the gaming community is no stranger that you are good friends, practically brothers, with the Walter Day. I was just going to bring that up. If you guys have been to a retro gaming con in the last, 5 years to a decade, you've seen Walter Day hand out and do his ceremonies for the trading cards for the famous gamers. Can you tell us a little bit about this book he's coming out with?
Sure, absolutely. He has done, it's in the thousands of trading cards, the Walter Day collection, and it honors people who have touched the gaming industry in any way. You don't have to have the highest score. You don't have to have won some contest. The fact is, as he describes, everybody has done even the smallest contribution. Every thread in a carpet is necessary to create the final image. And he doesn't want that to be lost to history. So by putting history on trading cards, by honoring people, he therefore solidifies history, and he gives recognition to those people who deserve it and who won't be passed by. One of the things that I touched upon that I enjoy more than anything, it was a role that I took from the year 2000 onward, is the idea that having achieved all that I would have hoped for in gaming, where would I go from there? And that was to have an ambassadorship where I go and honor people, players, advocate for them, give recognition and notoriety to those people who contributed to it. So by going to these events that you touched upon with Walter, by giving these awards, these recognition, this ambassadorship and the goodwill would live on long after we're gone. That's exactly what I like doing the best.
And I've seen the ceremonies. It gives them a good spotlight. Like people like Keith Abercrombie, who's, like you said, he may not be known as the best gamer, but he has a contribution, no doubt, to gaming culture. Right. So it totally makes sense. So, quick question. Everyone knows Billy Mitchell has Pac-Man, Donkey Kong. What else does he play here that we can talk about? What else?
Miss Pac-Man, Centipede, Burger Time, Donkey Kong Jr., popcorn machine. And there's quite a bit here.
And if you've ever seen Billy Mitchell also at a show, you know about the popcorn machine. End of story. So another question: are you going to be at Free Play this year, 2020? If God willing, it's still going on.
Free Play, usually the third weekend in November, give or take a weekend. Brian Jones, the friends that are made, the relationships that are had, it's too difficult for me to say no. I mean, I have to be there. I feel obligated because they've been so good to me. So barring any life-changing issue, I'll be there at Free Play doing what I can for them because they've done what they could for me.
And so in terms of environment, we talked about how at Free Play, you played in front of the big crowds, no problem, people going about you. This is apparently a place that you're kind of used to playing at Fort Lauderdale Glitch Bar. Can you tell us what it's like when this place is completely filled to capacity and you still like over here trying to nail out a long streaming score? How do you not get affected by it? How do you concentrate?
Well, as you touched upon, when I'm at home and something happens and the refrigerator opens and the TV's on, somebody has a question, that's exactly opposite of what we grew up with. Living in South Florida, Grand Prix was the world's largest arcade. It was 24 hours a day. Ron Mogerman believed in the games being loud. You were going to know you were in an arcade. It was like a rock concert. And yes, loud, noise, lights flashing, people everywhere. That's the same atmosphere here. The music is loud if you've been on the stream. It's difficult for me to talk and converse with the stream. There's lights flashing, there's people all around. And it forces me to absolutely laser focus on the screen. And it would appear that my best scores come out of that atmosphere. Maybe because it brings me back to the early days when I had to do it in Grand Prix.
And with the announcement of the Guinness, there's also another announcement. Steve Weeby's back in e-gaming. There's a guy named Steve Weeby. I'm not sure. Do you know who I'm talking about?
Yes, I've met him.
Okay, you've met him. Okay. Who can outlast the other in continuous Donkey Kong gameplay? Bill Mitchell, Steve Weeby. Quick.
There is no classic gamer, period, who can outlast me. None. Zero. I can sit and I can stream longer than you can stay awake. But let's get back to Steve. Steve is a decent guy. Steve is a guy I normally come across once a year because I'm always asked, what goes on with Steve? All of the last 8 Kong offs, I think he's missed 2 of them. Okay. And again, I can expect to see him once a year. He's a very decent guy. He's a very good player. And again, from the spirit of playing, if we do a perfect score on Pac-Man, if we do kill screens on Donkey Kong, if we do interviews like this, if we do shows, if we do things that keep the spirit of gaming alive, if that causes somebody like Steve to say, hey, I want to play again, then I'm doing my job. I'm very happy to see that he's doing that because that adds to the spirit of competitive gaming. I've heard other people have, picked up their controllers, so to speak, and they're doing it as well. So no, that's exactly what I'm out to do. I got to believe that all of us collectively put together, we make a difference.
So in terms of your stricken records with the Guinness book, you knew that you can do it. What drove you to keep pushing for it and reinstate it? We all know you can do it. There's no question because I've seen it. You know you can do it, but what pushed you to make it something that had to be turned over in your head, that you couldn't let it go? Obviously, this was something that you've worked on because it's important to you, but tell us why it's important to you.
Okay, that answer comes in a few phases. You knew I could do it. Other people knew I could do it. Because every score we're talking about, every single one was done in a public venue like this. Bigger than this. So remember that. Remember the fact that that means it wasn't something that was being accused of me. That means you were a liar. And everyone who watched or participated or helped. So I did feel that obligation. But without a doubt, you'd have to meet my son. You'd have to know him. He said, I'm setting up a Twitch. We're going to play. We're going to stream. We're going to make it happen. I had never been on Twitch. I told him to get lost. Well, he's 20 years old. He doesn't get lost anymore. He sure isn't scared of me. And he set it up, and he was playing. And I thought, well, it's father-son time. I don't see him that much. So I had fun watching him play, and then I played. And then I did what they said I couldn't do. Whack, I hit a million. A million. A million. Now I was having fun. And I said, gee, can I really go back and recreate the level of skill that I had and do every game? And it didn't matter if I could do it or not. I had to do it. And therefore, I did it rather quickly, I might add. And the point of solidifying history, gathering everything that was needed, that actually took longer than regaining the skill to do what I knew I could already do, or I'd already done. Some of the things that you saw, you were not hallucinating, you were there.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, you might have been drinking, but not that much.
So I'm looking over here. You guys can't see it. The Kong off belt. Neil, you want to bring it in? Show us. It's actually, yeah, bring it on in. Let's take a look. All right, so we saw this when we were over at Free Play. My question is for you, Billy. Are you willing to defend this bad boy and make this the real deal in Donkey Kong competitive gaming that it needs to be?
Well, the fact of the matter is, I would go back to defend the title. There's only one thing that could stop me, and it did, the Corona. They canceled it. Jimmy does an awesome job putting it together. We hope that he has it again. He's absolutely a guy who's made his mark. He's a premier guy in the classic gaming world, and I really miss going there. I want to see him. Again, you take your family and you go to Australia. Sure you play, sure you win, sure you brag. There's a little cynicism in me.
You pick up koalas.
Right, but it's also a life experience. And therefore, if it's a life experience, then it's family time too, so that's cool.
Excellent. So do you mind even telling us a little bit about how the process was getting reinstated in the process of Guinness having to reinvestigate it? So your son works together to put this evidence package. They get it to Guinness. How long was the communication back and forth with you guys and on them? And I'm sure you being like very antsy to get the thing moving along. How did it work out?
Well, the first thing is to remember when you think of these things, these kind of things you see on TV, they happen in an hour. It's very, very refreshing. Wow, time is a killer. To go back and to recapture the events of 35 years, that was difficult. Probably what was motivating was the fact in a 35-year, as I call, storybook relationship with a company that celebrates human achievement, I couldn't think of a negative thing there was in 35 years. I was very confident when we gathered everything how things would go. But going back and doing that much time, effort, research, reaching out to people, and knowing that you did it right and professional, that was an arduous task, really rough. From the time we first presented it to them, I guess they looked at it for a period of months. There was tremendous communication. They had lots of questions. It went back and forth. Again, it wouldn't matter if the time between a phone call was a day, a week, or 3 weeks. It seemed like forever. That's just life. But
Billy, I want to say for the record that when people say anything negative to you about this, you just keep it so cool and level-headed about the whole thing, because it's like I can honestly say the way that you carry yourself as far as charisma and your competition, you're confident. I could see it, and when I watch you play, it's like you could back it up too. It's insane.
Yeah, you can't let people change your personality. You do what you know is right. And they say everything happens for a reason. Things come together. I wasn't disappointed at all in what they did. I guess if I make up a disappointment, I'm disappointed with how long of a process it is. But then at the end, you have to have appreciation because you realize that they were ridiculously thorough, far more than I imagined. And so then you have a level of appreciation for it. Why did it take so long? Everything happens for a reason. Yes, there's the reason.
Perfect. So is the end goal for you to be able to submit scores again?
Well, I think I already have all my scores submitted when I play in public, when I play before the world. I'm follow the rules and submit anything I'd like to Guinness. The door's wide open. Why wouldn't I?
Well, I asked you this because of a little buddy of ours, Neil. He said something about a Burger Time high score. Is there a chance we could see that being something that's worked on record-wise?
You know better than to listen to children. Okay? But the fact of the matter is that is one of the games.
He says you're a great player. He just threw that out there, and I'm like, let's talk to Billy.
There are other great players. A friend, Brian, is a great player. It's a game that I'll visit again. Whether I beat my own personal best or even higher, that's irrelevant. It's fulfilling to continue to know you can do what you did as a kid. It's to continue to use the brain power you had, because theoretically we're supposed to lose it as the years go on. And I've had too much fun in my life, enjoyed too much. I don't want to lose it. So, yeah, I can see myself doing that.
Well, I'm here to say I think you've cemented your status in the world of gaming. I'm going to end this with a pretty funny question. What is the hottest hot sauce you have for me, Billy?
One drop would put me on the floor. What do you think it's going to do to you?
I don't know. You are the hot sauce king. What's the name of this bad boy?
Well, there's one we call Phantasm, and the other one we call Scorpion's Fury. I think you'd like them both. Maybe I'll give them both to you.
Oh, man, that sounds great. If you guys haven't heard, he has a restaurant called Ricky's Famous in Hollywood, Florida. Check it out, guys. That'll end it tonight. I appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm here with Billy Mitchell. It's still surreal, even after 3 times interviewing him. He's quite a guy. Thank you for sitting with me.
I appreciate it. I think 3 times, that might be a record.
Yeah. Guinness, we're coming for another record.
Yeah, and Walter's got to do a card on you.
That would be amazing. Give me the ceremony. I'll be there. I'll do a whole speech and everything. I want to.
We'll see you at Free Play.
All right. See you guys later. Have a great night.